you tell us a little bit about the research that you've done today?
Sure. So I've done, I identify as a teacher scholar. So teacher first. Oh, so my name's Stephen Drouin. I'm an associate professor here at Stan State University. So my research in the past 5 years, as I said, I identify as a teacher scholar. So teacher first, scholar second. So I have a couple articles related to pedagogy, how you teach in the classroom. And one of the papers that I'm most proud of talks about that oftentimes in schools, the content, you're learning content for the content's sake, but the research that I did was building from the scholarship of Paulo Freire, and he talked about that schools should be about solving problems. So my government students had a problem that was related to parking at Tracy High School, and so they were using our classroom to try to solve or interact with that problem, and they were partially successful, but we all kind of learned. And then more recently, a lot of my scholarship has to do with first generation students in higher education contexts.
Okay, and what methods did you use when you were doing this?
So I'm pretty much a qualitative researcher. I think that life is pretty complex, and so most of what I do is in qualitative research methods. I use case study methodology, phenomenological, and I just dipped my toes into grounded theory with some of my colleagues, which was pretty fun.
And how do you manage your role as a researcher?
How do I manage my role as a researcher? I think that's similar to some of my colleagues. I feed multiple birds with one hand. So I teach about teaching, and I wrap scholarship as part of that. I work with some of my students in my research. I work with some of my colleagues. So pretty much everything I do is about teaching and researching.
And what inspires you to continue this?
I think that I feel very privileged to be in the position that I am, and I think that I have a responsibility. I always wanted to work at a CSU to help students and help teachers, and so I think that part of what inspires me is to use those privileges and resources to make our schools and communities more responsive to the needs of marginalized students, and to support diverse groups of students. That I myself, growing up as a white middle-class man, I brought a lot of biases with me to the classroom. And so I think that it's part of my responsibility to help people learn how to teach diverse groups of students so we can succeed together as a democracy.
Okay, and any advice that you would give to your students or anyone trying to conduct research?
I think the thing that worked for me was projecting where I wanted to be to my fellow professors. That I told them that I wanted to move into higher education. I wanted to be a researcher. And so they'd pull me along to go to conferences. I co-authored a chapter with one of my advisors. And so they kind of saw that that's where I wanted to be. And so it was about learning how to be a researcher and living that kind of lifestyle and engaging in those types of activities. So let your professors know where you want to be and who you want to be. If you know that, and if you don't, maybe communicate that uncertainty as well. But if you know you want to move into higher education, let them know that, because there's lots of projects and opportunities that they may have in the back of their mind to help support you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thanks.
And we will be right back.